Hey, what's up, guys? Diego here. I just wanted to show you guys something real quick. This is what a quality brake job looks like. Um, this is just an add-on job from a bigger job, so I didn't charge the customer much. But even though I didn't charge the customer much, that doesn't mean I should skip out on maintenance. So you see that grease right there? You need to do that every time you remove this caliper. The reason I removed this caliper is because these pads are easily accessible from the outside. So you don't necessarily have to, but what I noticed was, look at these pads. Look at this side and look at that side. This one's a little bit worse. So what we have here is uneven pad wear. And why does uneven pad wear happen? Well, you have a slide pin in these calipers. And the slide pin on this side, every car is a little bit different, but this car, this one's fixed. There's no screw in it, it just slides in. And this one is a screw, so you can screw this out. It pops back into place and then slides out. You need to take this out and thoroughly clean it, make sure the seals are good, and add grease to both sides. So then when you do this, the caliper can move. So when the piston compresses, it can go back to its normal position and not have the pads be worn. So that's one aspect of it. And another one is, not every single brake job, depending on how often your customer needs a brake job, but you need to bleed the brakes. The reason why you need to bleed the brakes is because the fluid gets dirty, and brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs water. So you can see the problem with that. The first potential problem is, all this is metal, these lines are metal, and if you have water in there, you're going to rust real quick. Second thing is, water has a lower melting point or boiling point than brake fluid. So if you were to run these brakes really hard, say at a track day or just one day you're feeling especially adventurous in your car, these could lock up really easily because all this works based on pressure. As you know, water expands, or everything expands really, thermal expansion, with heat. So if you get this dirty brake fluid with 3 or 4% body, or 3 or 4% water in it, it's gonna expand and it's gonna compress these pads. That's what happens when you get brake lockups. So it's important that when you go get your brakes done, you make sure that they're doing a caliper service, aka or slide pin service, and that they're bleeding the brakes if you're getting them every 1 or 2 years. If you're less than a year, you're really running through pads, and then you can do it every other change, but otherwise you need some pads. So yeah, I just needed to educate you on that because I know a lot of people don't know that. I barely knew it, and in this car it's especially noticeable. You can see this side I have not done at all, and you can tell the difference between pads on each side. This is not as bad as the other side, and this side moves a little bit, but not quite like the other side. So don't waste your pads. Even though your brake job might be, I don't know, together $100, a cheap brake job, which is actually less than I charged this customer. Even though you have a cheap brake job, you're going to be replacing pads more often, and chances are when the next time your cheap mechanic sees this, he's just going to replace the caliper because that's what he thinks it is. So he's going to replace the caliper, he's going to put new fluid in there, but he's not going to bleed the whole system. So he's only going to bleed from here back just to get the air bubbles out. But everything back after that is still old fluid, which can still boil and still cause your brake lockups. So this is the importance of finding somebody that you trust and that you know won't mess you over. Because I mean, it's fine. You can pay somebody a lot of money to do something, but if they're not doing it right, what's the point of paying them? You know? Find yourself a good mechanic.